This is Module 10 of IDIS Online for CDBG entitlements. In Module 10, we will discuss the data entry necessary to report the receipt and use of CDBG program income and revolving loans. In the first video, we will review the concepts and key points about reporting program income in IDIS. In the second, we will walk through the data entry step by step. You will need to manage program income in three areas of the system. First, to report to HUD that you have program income in your local accounts, you will create a receipt. When creating receipts, you do not have to create a separate receipt in IDIS for each check you receive. You have the option of batching the receipts, which is to create one IDIS receipt to represent multiple payments you receive. For example, you may want to create just one IDIS receipt to enter all of the housing rehab loan payments you received in a month. One of the most important points on program income is the timing of the data entry. To stay in compliance with the cash management rules of the grant, you should receipt any program income you have on hand before doing a drawdown. Some HUD representatives encourage their grantees to receipt program income monthly at a minimum. Once you have reported the receipt of the income, you will need to report its use for an eligible activity. To do so, you need to first fund that activity with program income. Then create a program income drawdown for the activity. Please note that this process is different than the previous version of IDIS. The drawdown process for program income is just like the normal drawdown process. There are three different types of CDBG receipts in IDIS: program income, revolving loans, and repayments. Program income is the gross amount of income received by a CDBG grantee or its subrecipient directly generated from the use of CDBG funds. The most typical form of income comes from loan repayments, but it can also include other sources, such as the proceeds from the sale or rental of property. Revolving loan receipts are funds that are earmarked to be reinvested into the same activity that generated them. Two common examples of revolving loan programs are homeowner rehab loan programs and economic development loan programs. If you are unsure if your program is a revolving loan, check with your CPD representative, since revolving loan funds are treated differently in the CDBG regulations than normal program income. The third type of CDBG receipt in IDIS is a repayment. Please note that repayments are not program income. Program income and revolving loan receipts are generated from eligible activities, where repayments occur when an activity is repaying an ineligible cost or an excessive draw. In IDIS, repayments are handled differently than program income. With program income, you create a receipt, fund an activity, and then create a new drawdown. With repayments, you typically need to revise the drawdown that originally drew the money. In this module, we will focus on program income and revolving loans. If you need to process a repayment, work with your local CPD representative and the IDIS Technical Assistance Unit. The most important thing to keep in mind when dealing with program income is you must use it first before requesting additional funds from your line of credit. The best way to stay in compliance with this rule is to include the receipt process as part of your drawdown process. This will have the effect of netting the income you already have on hand out of the total amount requested from Treasury. For example, if you have $4,000 in program income and invoices for $10,000, in IDIS you would create a receipt for $4,000, a program income drawdown for $4,000, and draw the remaining $6,000 from entitlement. When subrecipients are allowed to keep program income to fund additional eligible activities, this income must be receipted and drawn in IDIS, even if no funds are sent to the grantee. When subrecipients are allowed to keep income, the subrecipient is treated just like the grantee, where they should use any income on hand before requesting additional funds from the grantee. In IDIS, grantees should fund the subrecipient's activity with the receipted funds to make sure that the funds are credited to the subrecipient. Alternatively, IDIS now allows grantees to create separate pots of program income using the subgrant function. Now that we know what program income is and how it should be treated, let's log into IDIS and walk through the steps to create a receipt and create a drawdown with program income.